Visitors from all over the world come to experience the wonders of Joshua Tree National Park. They come for rock climbing, dark night skies, wildflowers, and to see the expansive desert landscape. But in the 19th century, people were drawn to this area for very different reasons. Rugged individuals came to try their luck at cattle ranching, mining, and homesteading. The story of William F. Keyes and his family demonstrates the hard work and ingenuity it took to not only survive, but prosper in the high desert. Welcome back to Keyes Ranch. In the last episode, we explored what brought people to this area and the start of Bill's life on the ranch. Bill and Frances had 7 children. They lost 2 of their sons when they were only infants, just a few days old, and another son died in an accident here at the well when he was 11. Ellsworth Keyes' accident happened here at the windlass. Originally, this structure sat on top of the well, and for the children to fetch water, they had to crank the heavy bucket up to the top and then set a brake before reaching to grab the bucket. The brake must have slipped because the crank came around and struck Ellsworth in the back of his head. He survived for several weeks on the ranch, but eventually succumbed to his injury. With so many children living on the ranch, Bill and Frances had a lot of mouths to feed. They maintained a large garden here near the house, but it wasn't easy. For starters, Bill had to gather cattle manure and organic matter to compost so that the soil would be rich enough for plants to grow. They grew corn, beans, carrots, tomatoes, cucumbers, peanuts, dill, and kale, and they also planted fruit trees, apples, peaches, plums, almonds, and pears. In order to plant these trees, Bill actually put dynamite in the ground and blasted out holes so that the tree's roots could grow into the hard-packed soil. The Keyes family took pride in the success of their orchard and often exhibited in local fairs. Newspaper clippings tout the size and quality of their produce. Bill maintained a herd of cattle to supply his family with beef. The kids took care of smaller livestock like chickens, rabbits, and sheep. They occasionally would trap wild animals like jackrabbits, which Mrs. Keyes could use to make a stew. Having an orchard and a garden, livestock, and even mining require a lot of water. Bill had 4 wells on this property, but sometimes in the desert, wells could go dry without any warning. To make sure that he would have plenty of water for himself and his family, Bill built a dam in a natural low area in the rocks. Originally, this was an earthen dam that held back a reservoir of water. The Keyes used this necessary water for their garden, orchard, livestock, and mining, but they also used it for recreation. They swam in the lake in the summertime and ice skated on it in the wintertime. They even stocked it with fish. The family's goats used to walk back and forth over the top of the earthen dam, creating a trail. This weakened the dam, so during one heavy storm, it burst. A wall of water washed over the garden. The family lost all of the plants that were in their garden, all of that rich soil that they'd spent so much time building up, and several hundred jars of canned food that they'd stored on the banks of the reservoir. After the dam burst, the family took advantage of access to the rich silt at the bottom of the reservoir. They scraped it together to use as their new starter soil here in the garden. Bill rebuilt the earthen dam and then eventually a concrete dam, which still holds water today. Notice the shape of the rocks that make up the retaining wall. All of these stones were cut, and this is how Bill did it. The way that Bill would cut stones with a star drill is to find a spot where he thought the rock would break neatly and then drill a line of holes. And to do that, he'd insert this piece of iron called a star drill into the hole, hit it with a hammer, and then turn it. And that's how he made the little holes. And then he would pound into the holes tight-fitting wooden plugs, soak the plugs with water, which would cause them to expand, and the rock would break along that line. After selecting this site for his house, the first thing Bill built was the chimney. Although the house has changed many times over the years, the chimney has stayed the same, and today you can see it exactly as Bill built it. It is recognized by the Smithsonian as an example of excellent amateur masonry. The ranch house was a center of activity. It's a place where the family prepared and ate their meals, slept, entertained their guests, and relaxed together. In the summertime, this desert cooler kept the family's dairy and produce fresh. The way this works is strips of burlap are draped from a pan over the sides of the mesh box. The pan is filled with water, which wicks down the burlap. Cool breezes along the shady side of the house create an evaporative cooling effect for the food inside. While the house did not have indoor plumbing, Frances liked to joke that she always had running water. She just had to send a kid to run and get it. As you can see, Bill Keys and his family had the basic necessities of food, water, and shelter covered. But they didn't just survive out here, they thrived. Join us back at Keys Ranch in the next episode to learn more about the family-run store, daily life, chores, and the children's education. Joshua Tree National Park offers ranger-guided tours of Keys Ranch for visitors who want a more in-depth look at the lives of the Keys family. As a historic place with many artifacts, for your safety and to ensure protection of the resource, visitors to the ranch must be accompanied by a ranger. This helps to preserve the historical value of the site for visitors today and for future generations.